Let's get some positivity in here, shall we? Hello and welcome to my channel, The Danish Readaholic. My name is Silka and today I will be telling you my top 10 books of 2023. Very nice! Very nice. Let's just get into it. I will be taking it from the worst of the best, so from 10 and then moving up towards 1. Alright, and I think most people could probably guess what's in my, maybe you could guess my top 4. I'm pretty sure you can. Also, before we get into it, I just want to say that the ranking has been taken directly from my call pile, so some of them I'm like, is it really a favorite of 2023? But according to my call pile, it is, and every single time that I read a book, the first thing I do before putting it away is putting all the information in my call pile. So all of them are based on straight after reading them. It should give a fairly correct view of what my favorite books of 2023 was. So let's get into it. The first book I have is a reread, and that is Fable by Adrienne Young. I loved this the first time around, and apparently also loved it the second time around. I remember reading it at the beginning of 2023 so that I could just continue with Namesake. Did I do that? No. I didn't. But I think Namesake is on multiple of my TBRs and challenges for 2024, so I really should be able to get through it this year. But in this we follow Fable, who is the daughter of a pirate lord kind of person, but she has been abandoned on an island, and then she has to escape, and then a bunch of stuff happens, and it's just so good. I would definitely recommend, especially if you like, the piratey vibes. Well, you probably will have already read this, but if you haven't, go ahead and do it. Next up, we have my only graphic novel on the list, and that is Heartstopper Volume 4. I've talked about multiple times, every single time I talk about Heartstopper, I usually talk about them together, but I always mention that Volume 4 was my favorite one because they started going way deeper into a bunch of stuff, and I absolutely love that. Also, I have this special feeling about one of the main character's sister, and I don't know, this was just a very special book and a very special experience for me, and I'm super excited to go into Volume 5. I think I'm gonna reread the entire thing, but I haven't decided completely yet. So book number 8 I actually don't have here. It is Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shawnee McGuire. This is the third book in the Wayward Children series, and I absolutely loved it. I love the land that we go to. I love revisiting some of the old characters, especially our main character from the first book. I absolutely love that we saw her again. There's just a bunch of stuff going on, and I thought that it was super cool and a different spin on it, because I was kind of wondering, because I knew that it was going to be the first book would take place at this home for wayward children, the second book would take place in one of the worlds, and then it would go back and forth between taking place at the home or in the worlds. But I was kind of wondering what would happen when we were at the home, because the first one, it made sense to me, we were introducing a main character and then some stuff happened, but then it was okay, but are they going to introduce a new character every single time, or what is going to happen? And I was not disappointed. This was so good. So this was obvious to me why it was on my top 10 list. Next up, we have The School for Good and Evil, The Last Ever After. This is the final one in the school years, so I'm actually super excited to see what is going to happen in the next book, because that is the Camelot years, and I'm excited to see how much they intertwine, how recent the events in the first book there is compared to how close they are together. So I'm excited to see that, and I'm excited to go into it, but it also I absolutely love when we're at the school, and I'm not sure we're going to be at the school in the next ones, but we'll see. What I really liked about this was how it was old versus new, because in every single one of the first 3 books in the school years, it has been good versus evil in the first one, and then in the second one it was kind of boys versus girls, and then in this one it was old versus new, and I really love that, and also kind of gave me a little bit of is old really better, or is new really better? Like, can't we just like a combination of both? And I don't know, I'm not sure it was supposed to give me that kind of like existential crisis, even though it wasn't a crisis, but it was what it gave me, and I absolutely loved it. Also, I like the main characters, and I will always like the main characters in this. So, yay! Alright, we're at the second middle grade on the list. We have Fight and Flight by Jules Macias. This was so great. We follow like these two middle grade girls who have a lot of issues, both of them. Well, not issues. Well, yes, issues. They have a lot of stuff that they're going through, and what they don't realize is that the other person is maybe what they need to get better, or to at least feel better about themselves. But they kind of team up after the school does like a school shooting drill, but a very realistic one, and they want to put an end to these kind of drills because it felt awful, and a lot of kids got very upset and very sad because of it, obviously. So that is kind of what they team up about, and kind of start their friendship based on this. Like, they want to make an end, or to have like none of these realistic school drills anymore, and I absolutely love these. I like it. I recommend it. We're going into top 5 now, and we have a contemporary. Maybe we should call it a romance. I feel like it's more a romance book than a contemporary. Actually, I don't know. Anyways, it's Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I love this. I love this. This is the type of contemporary I want. I'm super excited to read her other books, like Wildfire, and then there's also coming another one. And I'm also just kind of looking for books that are similar in vibe to this, because I loved it. I love it was just so good. And also the he falls first thing, she falls harder, I think. Maybe he fell both first and harder. I really don't know. But I also really like the whole figure skating hockey player thing. I didn't know how much I liked that until reading this. I've also seen a couple like TV shows and stuff with like hockey, figure skater. I've also seen like with gymnastics, like with female and like male gymnastics, and I like that dynamic of two sporty people but different types. I know that gymnastics is kind of the same, but you do different things, so it's not the same, you know? I really like that, and I want more of that. So if anybody has some recommendations of sportsy romance, I don't want football, I don't want soccer, don't give that to me. I don't want that. Anything else. I'm here for it. I'm ready to explore. Well, maybe I do want soccer. I don't care much for football. I don't care much for sport in general, but I don't know. Just, you know what? Fuck it. Bring all the recommendations. I'll sort through it myself. On 4th place, we have Master of Iron by Tricia Levenseller. This is the sequel to one of my favorite books of all time, Blade of Secrets. I absolutely love this. The first book was very slow burn, and that was great. That was what I needed from it. This was also kind of slow burn, but in a more intense way, and I loved it because, after the first book, our two main characters kind of don't like each other. Well, main character and main love interest kind of really don't like each other. Well, one of them doesn't like the other. And for this entire time, it was like enemies to lovers, well, dislike to lovers, and I was just waiting for her to break. And when she did, it was great. It was phenomenal, and I was happy with it. This was just overall more romancy than the first one, and I really, really liked that. But I think if the first one wasn't so heavy on plot and world building, I probably wouldn't have liked that amount of romance that we got in this. So it was a great combination and a great addition to a sequel where you already kind of know the world, so you can play heavier on the relationships in it, and I loved it. Next up, we have Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim. Is anyone surprised? I was actually kind of surprised that this one was third and not second, but here we are. And now thinking about it, It's where it belongs. I love this so much with a burning passion, and I'm super excited for the sequel. I'm probably gonna get the Fairloot Special Edition because if it's as beautiful as this one, it's gonna be worth it. If they're making it, I don't even know. I loved the world building, first of all. I also really love the magic system in this, and the fact that even though all of them are like drinking this type of tea to gain their powers or enhance their powers, they have different powers. And I really liked that one of the main characters, or one of the people that we follow, we don't see his perspective, but he's always there. He has the abilities to kind of like, I think it's a raven or a hawk or something, that he can like send forward and explore shit, and he will know what it sees, so he can like follow. It's so freaking cool. I love it. I am so excited to see where this goes, and so excited to see like the relationships in this and how they move forward, because there's definitely, I have some opinions about who should end up together, but we also are on the brink of a love triangle, so I'm excited to see what I'll feel like after the second book, because like, you know, I could change my opinion. I don't think I will, but I could. Next up, we have a book that I wish was a first in a series, but it's not. But oh my god, I love these characters and I so want to reread this. And that is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I absolutely love this. This was so good. It was like mermaid hunter, enemies to lovers vibes. I loved all of this. There was one specific scene that I remember vividly in my mind when she was on the ship and they caught a mermaid and she was able to communicate with the mermaid, and that was how she outed herself, but because of who it was, she couldn't contain her rage, so she communicated with this mermaid. I think it was one that she didn't really like. So there was just so many things in this, so many things that I absolutely freaking loved. And you know, getting like all of the stuff that I talked about with Fable, with like the pirate vibes, you're also getting that from this, despite it not necessarily being pirates, but you get the vibes nonetheless. And I freaking love it. I would highly recommend, and I'm super excited to go into other books by Alexandra Christo. I have one, I think, but I need to get my hands on more because this was so good. Does anyone have a guess as to what the number one book of the year was? City of Nightmares by Rebecca Schaeffer. I freaking love this so much, and I'm gonna reread it soon. I have recently gotten the sequel, Cage of Dreams, and I think I'm gonna reread this and then read the other one right after, so I can read them back to back, because that is really what I want. With this, we have a main character who's really, really scared of everything, and I love it, and kind of understand her, because her sister turned into like a giant bug and tried to eat her. So I would be a little bit wary as well. And then we meet this vampire, which, first of all, I normally don't like vampires in books. I'm very, very picky about it for some reason, and I don't know why. I feel like it's so typical with the camera dying, like right before the end. But I was talking about this book and how much I freaking love it, despite there being a vampire as one of like the main characters. But all of the characters were just so great, and I felt like even the side characters, I was like, I want to explore more about you because you're so interesting, and I'm so excited to see where it goes in the second one. I also really like the premise, like the whole, if you have a nightmare, you'll turn into it. So I'm super excited to get into the sequel. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment telling me what your favorite book of 2023 was. If you just want to let me know that you're here but don't know what to comment, you can always leave a green heart. If you like this video, please hit the like icon, and if you want to see more of my bookish content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will mean the world to me. And until I see you next time, bye!